Hello, BookTube. I have a tag for you today, even though it's Wednesday and not Tuesday. I've been feeling a little odd about tags lately, as I mentioned on my Raucous Steve stream last night. They've been feeling a little odd. I've been feeling uh, reluctant to participate in that kind of the celebrated BookTube community. But this is not a permanent decision, and it's not a thing that I've made systematic in my mind. And Jim at Jim's Books and Reading and Stuff invited me to do this tag. He years ago did an alphabet series of tags where he went letter by letter with great prompts, and I guess he's decided to revamp those, keeping some of the original prompts and adding some original new ones. So I'm going to do the C tag, and I'll leave a link to his channel. And I'm going to start off by whiffing things right away. So, question number 1 is C is for countries: Cuba, Colombia, Chile, Congo, Cyprus, Czechia, China, and Canada. What was the last book you read by an author from a country beginning with C, or a book set in a country beginning with C? And I have no idea. Not at all. I don't pay any attention whatsoever to such things, and they don't stick in my mind like they do for some of you. There are plenty of kinds of details that stick in my mind, but that's not one of them. So I have no idea at all. I'm just going to have to whiff on question number 1. Question number 2 is C is for classic. What was the last classic book you read? And here there's a little bit of elasticity because BookTube, most of Goodreads, most of the reading world, I would think, hears the word classic and thinks anything from more than 100 years ago. I hear the word classic and I think of my oldest friends, the actual classics of ancient Greece and Rome. And it just so happens that that the last classic that I read fits both criteria because it was the Civil War of Julius Caesar. I recently read a biography of Julius Caesar that's new out this year from Oxford University Press, and still figuring out what to think about it. This has been a good year for histories and biographies set in ancient Rome. I'm still trying to figure out what to think of that book. Reading it from paragraph to paragraph, I was thinking, this is a little lazy. But then I was reading the notes, and the notes, the author is fully present. Would be the phrase that I would use. He's fully present. It is definitely not a lazy book. And that conflict between the feeling of the prose on the page and the obvious presence of the author in his own research was at its height in the part of the book about the Civil War, where Julius Caesar basically took control of the Roman Republic and changed it into his own personal possession. And that caused that caused the tennis match between reading the text and reading the endnotes, because of course we don't put footnotes at the bottom of the page anymore. I don't know why. I do know why, because some stupid bean counter who doesn't read in the publicity arm of a publishing department decades ago thought, oh no, that looks bad. It looks eggheady. Oh no, that'll cost us sales. The people who want to read a biography of Julius Caesar that is heavily annotated want the notes at the bottom of the page. All of them do. No one wants the notes at the end of the book. They all want the notes at the bottom of the page, and yet, and they're the ones who are going to buy the book. No one else is going to buy it. But no. Anyway, when I was batting forth, when I got to the Civil War sections of that book, I was batting back and forth extra fierce. So when I was done with the book, and I'm still trying to sort out what I thought of it, I decided to just go to Caesar's own book. And so that's the last classic that I reread, was the Civil War. Then question number 3 is C is for children's book. What is the last children's book you read for your own enjoyment? And here the parting phrase there is redundant in my case, because I have only one dependent, and she does not want me to read to her. So I don't have children, so human children. So I don't read books for my own enjoyment. Applies across the board, because I'm not reading books to children, which might not be for my own enjoyment, and I'm also not reviewing children's books, which also might not be for my own enjoyment. So instead, all of them are for my own enjoyment. And curiously enough, the one that I just recently read is centered around the letter C. By pure coincidence. This is written and illustrated by Haley Archer, and it's one of the most confusing children's books I have ever read. It's called C is for Coffee. And it is a fun, wacky cartoon introduction to the world of coffee. And I do not understand that. I just don't. I was about to ask what could be the purpose of this book, but what could the purpose of this book be other than to make your little kids, when you read it to them, say, I want to try coffee? What could the purpose of this book be other than that? And why would you do that? Why on earth would you do that? Coffee is the mildest of the chemical addictions, but it's still a chemical addiction. Why would you want to encourage a little kid reading a picture book to take on a chemical addiction? Why would you want to do that? I don't understand it, but this was the last one that I read. So let's just move on to, let's see here, prompt number 4. C is for cookbook. Do you have a favorite cookbook? I don't use cookbooks. I've known a great number of people who did. Oh my God, I've seen some cookbooks in the kitchen on a particularly handy shelf that have food swipes and grease stains all over them, thumb marked pages. Back when cookbooks, when the pages were actual paper, instead of the laminated thing that's meant to survive in the kitchen. I'm not mocking that laminated part. I understand why you would do that. But once upon a time, the pages were, of course, in paper. It would have been cost prohibitive to laminate pages. In those old cookbooks that I've seen in some people's kitchens, you've got all sorts of annotations in the recipes. Don't do this. Add this here. Oh, it's been a joy in however many years of being house guests for people. It's been a joy of mine to sneak out to the kitchen late at night when everybody in the house is asleep and it's just me and the dogs, and just contentedly flip through those old, heavily used cookbooks. But I don't use them myself, and so that probably reflects on my choice. My choice is The Way to Cook by Julia Child, which I don't think anybody would... A dyed-in-the-wool cookbook user uses a cookbook in the kitchen. I don't think they would consider that a cookbook. It's a coffee table book. And I think people who use cookbooks probably have more utilitarian use in mind. But anyway, that's the one that I'm going to pick. Then number 5 is C is for comfort zone. What genres fall into your reading comfort zone? I am tempted here to give a categorical and therefore a snotty response and say that if the author is paying attention to what they're doing and cares and is writing at the peak of their ability, then they are in my comfort zone no matter what they're writing about. They could be writing about retuning a carburetor. If they're writing to entertain at the peak of their form with full attention on what they're doing, not phoning anything in, I'd like to say that would be in my comfort zone. But that's not very helpful, is it? So instead, let's see if we can do the list of Steve's comfort zone. There is fiction. Contemporary fiction hasn't been very comfortable in quite some time, but I still read it. Occasionally I like it. Contemporary broad church nonfiction. Any of the portmanteau stuff that you would just sweep into there. History, biography, nature, science, mystery, science fiction, fantasy, romance, literature and translation. Am I leaving anything out? I don't think I'm leaving anything out. Those are I have quite a few comfort zones, and I can't imagine not. Sorry, I don't mean to elaborate on the point here, but I can't imagine not. I watch a lot of BookTube. I watch a lot of BookTubers who read only one kind of book, and that's it. And I guess there's a small part of me that kind of envies that. It's so cozy and confined, but most of me does not. Most of me just finds it incomprehensible how you could do that. How could you, when you answer this question, what genres fall into your comfort zone? There are plenty of readers that I know, plenty of people I watch on BookTube, where their answer to this prompt would be about 2 genres, maybe 3. I can't imagine that. I just can't. Let's see here. Question number 6. Prompt number 6 is C is for characters you can't forget. What fictional characters live rent-free in your head? None. None. They're all made-up stories. None. Prompt number 7 is C is for crime, the last crime novel that you read. I have a picture of that as well. This is just recently. I read Danielle Wong's book, Tiny Wild Things, which does have the gigantic block letters and the 3 words that are the absolute de rigueur design of crime and thriller novels in America for the last year. They're all that. They have gigantic block letters and 3 words. This does have that, but this is not that. This is not Me Kill Now. This is actually a book title. And this was fairly effective. It's about an enterprising reporter who finagles an interview with a reclusive artist, wants to talk to him about everything, but also about his dead wife, who we think we know all the details about that, but there are some details that aren't in place. We just assume that, the family wanted to keep some things private. And this reporter is going to this guy's house to interview him, his house out in the woods, to interview him, gets a warning, an anonymous warning, to be careful, to maybe not to go. She goes anyway, and there results a thriller that is entirely predictable. I can only assume that Danielle Wong, like everyone writing thrillers today, is not only 20, but has never read a thriller and never watched any thrillers on TV. I can only assume that. Because if you are a dyed-in-the-wool thriller reader, you're going to look at this and say, well, this is... Well, if it's 6 cars... if you're a dyed-in-the-wool thriller reader, you're going to read this thing, and after, let's say, 60 pages, generously speaking, you're going to say, okay, well, this is a joke, right? I mean, come on. And you'll be right to think that, but it is still done with a lot of spirit. I did still enjoy it. And so that's my latest crime novel with a C. And then prompt number 8. Oh, we're gonna whiff it on prompt number 8 as well. We're gonna end with a blank, just like we started with one. Maybe I'll have better luck with other letters. I'll keep an eye out for the revived D tag. Prompt number 8 is C is for ChatGPT and Claude AI. Ask ChatGPT or another AI to choose a book for you. How close was it to choosing a good book for your taste? I don't have any AI programs. I don't have ChatGPT or anything like that. Occasionally, I am curious to try. I don't actually know what the mechanics are of ChatGPT just in general. Do you download it? Is it free? I assume there are levels to it. I am, in a way, very curious about that. I don't have the Chicken Little doom saying of it being the end of the world. I just haven't... I've read all about it, but I haven't actually tried it. Should I try ChatGPT? The closest that I come to an AI, saying that I haven't downloaded a specific generative AI is one thing. That doesn't mean I don't use AI. All of us use AI. And I'm sure that AI guides the selections for things like Kindle Unlimited. And some of those, well, they say explicitly that they're based on the stuff that the AI has already seen that I have read. And some of those picks are okay. I have no idea. I mean, what would ChatGPT even go off? If I were to download it, do you download ChatGPT? Do you pay for it? I have no idea. And I'll never know, because I'm asking these questions at the end of this video, and it's a well-known fact that no one ever watches to the end of the video. In fact, no one ever watches past the first 60 seconds. That is a well-known truth. I was called an elitist, a gatekeeper, having main character syndrome, simply by saying that that's false. But since we've all agreed that is true, that hey kid, it's a rough game, then none of you are listening right now. So no one's ever going to answer this question. But if I were to download ChatGPT, if you download ChatGPT, how would it even know to answer? Would I have to give it a lot of information first for it to answer the question of what should my next book be? I don't even know. What could it know about me otherwise? That if I don't give it permission to learn. I'm curious about chat, AIs like this just in general. I've heard stories of some people who use AI, pay maybe for an advanced AI to come up with an AI friend that they give a name to, even an image to, sometimes even a moving image to. and they just talk to that AI friend throughout the day. And I have read accounts of those people who say, some of them say, a lot of them say, that after a while, the thing that I have created with this AI is no longer just parroting back to me, myself. It's, after a while, it feels like a different person. It's acting like a different person. There's a part of me that would very much like to try that. So I would say, feel free to tell me all that you can about the subject, but no one's listening. It's a tough game, kid. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up. That is the new revived C tag, and I will try to do better with the next one. Maybe the D tag is up already. I'll go check. But I'll leave a link to Jim's channel anyway, because you should see it. And I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.